You have the Game Awards on here. I unfortunately missed that, so what do you
I'll,
have about that?
okay, so I'll be honest. This year's Game Awards, I haven't cared about them too much because I feel like most of them have just been kind of like you know how the you know how the boomer generation has tried figuring out the internet for a long time, and they're trying to get in touch with like the gamers and the Twitch people and the YouTube people. That's how I felt about the Game Awards for a long time. I
Hmm.
felt like they're at least 10 to 15 years of like internet memes and internet culture behind. They were cringy, like the jokes, the people were so cringy. And I mean, you'd have to watch it. I don't know her name, but there was one of the people like commentating on the whole thing, and she was cringy, but it was like so cringy, it was kind of funny. But this year's Game Awards was actually, I would say, pretty good. I think it's one of the better ones. Like I said, I haven't cared for about it for years. It's been going on for 10 years, or I think 9 years. But it's pretty good. Baldur's Gate 3 pretty much just swept the board on all the awards, which I think everybody saw coming.
Hmm.
Larian Studios, which was a pretty small, well, small, relatively small. I think they're still a big publisher, but they made an amazing game. I think there was only one thing that it didn't take in all the categories it was in, and I feel like that still was like the Game Awards people didn't feel right giving everything to Baldur's Gate 3 because I still think it should have gone to Baldur's Gate 3. I think Alan Wake took it. I think it was like the the narrative direction or something. It was some random thing like that. But Game Awards were good. There was a lot that came up. They had this one guy. I'll have to send. You'll have to edit it in. I'll send you a clip of it. But there's this. They had their own orchestra, the Game Awards orchestra, and it was really cool. They would play the music from like Legend of Zelda or whatever game they were talking about. But and there's this one clip of this guy, and they call him the flute guy, the Game Awards flute guy. And I do, brother, I have never seen somebody on a woodwind instrument go as hard as this guy goes. Like he is the whole show. Like people just were waiting for him to come back on. And at one point he puts his flute down and he gets like a bigger, I don't know what the bigger instrument is, but it's bigger than he is. It's like huge.
Hmm.
I'll send you the clips, but you can edit in. Um, Entertaining, but not like super relevant to the actual Game Awards. It's just something funny that happened. But the big thing I wanted to talk about is the company that made No Man's Sky got back up there, and I think everyone was expecting them to just announce they had a new DLC or whatever because you've played No Man's Sky, correct?
Yeah.
Like from what I understand, they've really turned the game around. They've put out a bunch of free content for the game. Like they've added so much in over the last 10 years. What would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best examples of a disaster release turning into a great game. Yeah. I didn't I, I,
So
I didn't play it more than like 2 hours, but from when I did play, yeah, it's alright, it's fun.
so anyways, the guy, and I don't remember the guy's name, he gets up there and he just starts talking and then he
Sean Murray.
I was expecting them what?
Sean Murray, that's his name.
John Murray. Yeah, that's the name. John Murray. Um I was expecting him to talk about No Man's Sky 2 or or I don't know. But they announced a new game. It's called Light No Fire, and dude, it looks insane. Like it looks too good to be almost No Man's Sky too good to be true. And it's like it's scary how good it looked.
Mm-hmm.
But coming from them, it was the most ironic thing because I think it was the best trailer that was shown at the Game Awards. They premiere a lot of trailers there
Mm-hmm.
for games coming out in the next couple of years. But it was so funny from Sean Murray and his team, who had the most disastrous launch of a game I think ever. Like No Man's Sky bombed hard. Like it's still known for bombing the hardest out of everything. But they put out this trailer for this game and it looks so good, dude. Like it you got it's called Light No Fire. You'll have to watch it after this.
Okay.
But opinion time. Do you think this is No Man's Sky Part 2 or do you think they've learned their lesson and not going to put out a crappy game again? Or
Wow.
shouldn't say crappy, but unfinished game.
I've already seen a load of Sean Murray memes saying, "Don't promise too much." Then he says all this stuff about how good the game is and how much stuff is in it. But I mean, I th- I hope that they have learned their lesson and they actually do release a full, complete game that works and functions. And I mean, that's why Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year, or one of the reasons. So hopefully, I'm not gonna hold my breath though, because that's just like the industry standard now. And I saw, maybe you could get the exact quote for me, but Cyberpunk actually replied to a tweet talking about that, and they said something along the lines of, "Well, if it's broken, you can just fix it later." Because Cyberpunk also released disastrously, and now it's supposedly a good game, but I'm still
Yeah,
not gonna
like
play it.
and I think that was the ironic part for me and like in general like oh and I mean GTA 6 we haven't even talked GTA 6 yet, you know, they just released a trailer. Like I think modern games are getting too big. Like I don't think they should announce them until they are ready to release because I know why they do it. They're hoping to get a bunch of pre-orders as soon as they can and get people hyped for the game and all this stuff. But the problem is you have the No Man's Sky problem or the Cyberpunk problem is like they put those games out at least if not 2 or 3 years too early. Like Cyberpunk, I think no, Cyberpunk is at least 2 years, right? Maybe three. I can't remember when it came out, but it's still like they're releasing these games and they're 3-ish years off of where they should be.
Hmm. Yeah, and actually,
Seriously.
Marvel has had the same problem too, where they announce a bunch of stuff and then it's just churned out, and it's not good at all. So
Yeah, December 10th, 2020. So yeah, three
mhm.
years. Basically 3 years for Cyberpunk.
Exactly 3 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
as
And
recording
so,
this. Yeah.
and so it like I said, it was a weird feeling for me because you would expect them to never put out another game. Sean Murray's company, I can't remember what the actual name of the company is.
Hello
But
Games.
yeah. But they put out this trailer and it looks so good. It actually, dude, like you'll have to go watch it after this. It actually looks so cool. Like
Okay.
basically it's it, I think it's procedurally generated kind of like Minecraft. It's kind of a Minecraft type survival world,
Hmm.
but it looks really cool. But saying all that, I was obviously telling myself in my head too, like, nope, nope, you cannot get excited about this game for at least 3 years until after it releases.
Right. Yeah. And actually, did you see what the Kratos voice actor said
Oh, yeah.
during this speech?
Oh, I was dying, dude. Yeah, and that was another thing. So for those who may not know, the voice actor of Kratos, I can't remember what
Christopher
his name is.
Judge.
Doesn't Yeah, Christopher Judge. He in the last year's Game Awards, he gave an 8, I think it was like 8 minutes 7 seconds. He
Yeah.
gave for the Game Awards, that's forever. Like that is like 4 times longer than anybody else has gone up there and talked. Well, this year he gets up there and they have him announce the best. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like the best vote or best voice actor of the year. So I can't remember the category.
Mhm.
But he is up there, and his whole speech was basically a joke about his last year's performance and how it was too long, and they're gonna kick him off and all this stuff. And do you want to say what his actual joke was?
So he said, uh, my my speech was longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign.
Which is just the biggest burn I think I've ever heard, like in that setting, like the
Yeah.
gaming industry. That is, I think, the biggest burn you could give any company.
Mhm.
Because I don't know. Have you played the Modern Warfare 3 campaign?
I'm not going to touch it. No.
Yeah.
It. Yeah. No, it's,
I do not know anybody who cares about the Modern Warfare like campaign saga or whatever you want, the story.
Mhm.
Like it just is that bad.
Yeah. But yeah, and then after that, the Captain Price voice actor threw shots at him. um, I don't remember what he said, but I know that he tweeted it. But yeah, and then this whole thing on Twitter erupted where Call of Duty developers, past and present, are coming forward saying he shouldn't do that. We had to work crunch time and and like just do all these hours to get this game out. And I mean, it's just and just delay the game. Come on, But I mean, obviously, it's not up to the developers. It's up to Activision. But still, it's just not something that these developers who are responding to Christopher Judge are being praised for. They're kind of being shat on because of it.
Yeah, and I think that's not to get too off on the weeds here because we're getting sidetracked a little bit, but that's like with talking about like the Black Ops games or the Zombies games, for instance. Like the hate that they've gotten has never actually been to the developer of the game. It's never been like Treyarch. Like we say, Treyarch, stupid Treyarch, you ruined this or whatever. But we all know, like, and I think it's important to realize who is pulling the strings of everything or who has been for the last 10 years or whatever. Bobby Kotick. It's always the bigger company that ruins everything, and so that I didn't know that. That's funny that they were so defensive of what the Call of Duty campaign is. But
Yeah.
kind of like why though? Like it's like you're putting out an inferior product. Not like it's your fault per se. Like you did your job, but
Right.
they're just the problem is Activision and Call of Duty are just so far above where gamers actually are that we just don't understand. We don't understand their methods and how important they actually are to gaming. So I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was pretty much the Game Awards. Baldur's Gate 3 took everything. John Murray got up there, put out a really elaborate trailer. You'll have to watch it. You'll have to let me know what you think after you watch it. But
Okay, I will.